The Thorne sisters didn't knock. They didn't ask. They appeared. Julian saw the first one in a bar. Seraphine. Crimson lips, gown like smoke. She leaned against the bar like she owned the world and ordered something dark, neat. Her eyes found his like a match finds gasoline.
Do you believe in magic?
She asked, not waiting for an answer before walking away, leaving behind a whisper of perfume and a card that smelled faintly of blood and roses. All it said was, midnight, the forest, come hungry. He came, of course. The forest was thick and heavy with moonlight. The air pulsed with something ancient. At its heart stood the manor, black stone and thorny, ivy, like a castle pulled from a fever dream. The door opened before he knocked. Inside it was warm, candlelight, velvet shadows, and 3 women watching him like wolves watch prey wrapped in silk. Seraphine stood in the center, her gown now gone. She wore nothing but a choker and confidence.
You came.
She purred. To her left was Liz, tall and sinuous, dressed in tight leather, a blade in her hand tracing idle circles on her bare thigh. Her smile was half promise and half warning. And then Mira. She emerged from the shadows behind him, silent, her hands on his chest before he even registered her movement. Her lips grazed his ear.
We like your hunger,
She whispered.
but we want more.
Clothes were removed like offerings. Each touch from them was a spell. His skin burned, chilled, begged. Seraphine kissed his lips while Liz knelt, mouth worshipping lore. Mira guided his hands, his breath, his surrender. He was laid bare across a velvet altar, bound not with ropes but with desire. The women circled him slowly, mouths tasting, fingers trailing, power thick in the air.
This isn't just a good time.
Mira whispered, straddling his chest, her eyes glowing faintly gold.
This is devotion.
Seraphine sank onto him with a sigh that shattered reality. Liz kissed him with teeth. Mira whispered ancient words as she slid a dagger across her palm and let the blood fall onto his lips. It was ecstasy. It was madness. It was ritual. And as the climax surged through him, the candle flames flared high, white, hot, filling the room with light and shadow and something other. He didn't know what he gave them that night. His body, his seed, his soul. All he knew was this. When he awoke, he was changed, touched, marked, and the sisters were watching him with something like curiosity.
You're not empty?
Seraphine said, voice husky.
That's new. Maybe.
Mira murmured.
He's not prey after all.
Julian stayed. He told himself it was the magic. How their skin hummed against his. How the world outside the manor faded into something meaningless. He told himself it was the sex. Gods, the sex. Every night a new ritual. Every touch dipped in fire. Every climax torn from him like a prayer. But it wasn't that. It was her. Mira. She was different. Seraphine consumed him like flame. Liz carved pleasure from him like a sculptor. But Mira saw him. When the others slept tangled in satin sheets and a scent of blood and sweat, she would sit by the window and watch the forest breathe. Sometimes she'd hum a song that didn't exist anymore. One night, she didn't move when he approached. Why do you look at the trees like they're gonna speak? He asked.
Because they do.
she said, without turning.
If you live long enough, everything speaks, even the dead,
she said. He sat beside her, naked but warm. Her skin was pale silver in the moonlight, marked with sigils and bite scars, some fresh, some ancient. He touched her wrist, and she didn't pull away. "You're not like them," he whispered. Her smile was sad and sharp.
You say that like it's a good thing.
"It is," he said. "You don't just feed, you feel." That night, she didn't take him to the altar. She led him to a room of candlelight and old books and made love to him slow, like she was trying to remember something she'd lost. No spells, no blood, just sweat, breath, and hands. Afterward, she laid her head on his chest.
I was born in a village where women couldn't read, couldn't choose, couldn't scream. They burned me when I was 16. I came back different.
Julian ran his fingers through her hair. "They feared your power," he said.
No, they feared my love.
She replied. The next day, Seraphine was cold, Liz cruel. They felt the shift in the air, their mirror drifting toward the man who was supposed to be just another offering.
She won't save you,
Seraphine said to Julian that night, pressing him against the wall, her nails biting into his chest.
She can't even save herself,
she screamed. But Julian didn't care. He wasn't trying to escape. He wasn't even sure he could. He just knew one thing. He'd been hers since the moment she cut her palm and whispered his name into the fire. Julian changed. It started subtle. His body held energy longer after the rituals. His eyes caught moonlight in ways they shouldn't. The blood they spilled onto his lips no longer fed the sisters. It fed him. He began to want it. The Maynard's wards trembled when he touched the stones. The mirrors refused to reflect him clearly. Seraphine noticed first.
He's feeding off us,
she spat, pacing the ritual chamber in nothing but blood-stained lace.
He's becoming something else.
Liz smirked.
You're the one who brought him here. Don't pout now that he's stronger than your last dozen toys.
It's not strength.
Mira whispered.
It's becoming,
she said from the shadows. Julian started dreaming in tongues, walking with incantations dripping from his lips. He could hear the forest, the spirits. He could command them. One night, the trees bowed toward him. The sisters felt the shift in the air, and they knew he was no longer theirs. They confronted him beneath the blood moon. He stood in the ritual chamber, shirtless, eyes glowing faintly red. Power thrummed under his skin like a second heartbeat. He smiled at them like a lover, like a god. "I love you, Mira," he said, reaching for her. "But I'm not your offering anymore. I'm what comes after." Seraphine struck first, blades of light conjured from thin air. He caught them, crushed him to ash. Liz flung him against the stone wall with the hex laced in fire. He laughed as it scorched him. Mira didn't move, not yet. "You changed me," Julian said, stalking toward them. "You made me, and now I can give you more. We don't have to feed off scraps. We can rule together." Seraphine hissed. "Do it." Mira hesitated. His hands touched her cheeks, gentle, pleading. "We could be gods. No more rituals, no more hiding, just us." For a second, she saw it. The world they could build in blood and flame. But then she saw something else. Her sisters, the bond older than flesh, the fire they rose from. That was love too, and it came first.
"I'm sorry,"
she whispered. And then she drove her dagger into his heart. He staggered, shocked, but not dead. It took Seraphine's fire to burn his veins, Liz's chant to lock him still. Mira's spell, spoken through tears and clenched teeth, was the final blow. When he died, the forest screamed, the manor trembled, the mirrors shattered, and the sisters, naked and blood-soaked, stood in a triangle over his body, breathing hard, magic sparking between their fingertips. They had survived, but something in Mira had cracked. Later that night, Seraphine found her by the window, the dagger still in her lap.
He made you feel something,
Seraphine said softly.
Yes. That's why I had to be the one that killed him.
Weeks passed. Julian's ashes were buried beneath the black rose bush in the garden, the same one that had never bloomed. Since that night, it flourished. Thorn stems twisted skyward, buds bursting with blood-red petals. It was the first sign. The second was sickness. Mira, who had survived death and centuries of hunger, now woke weak and nauseous, her body rebelling. She hid it at first, told herself it was grief, leftover magic, or guilt curdled into flesh. But then she felt it. A pulse beneath her skin, not her own, a second heartbeat. When she told her sisters, the air changed. Seraphine's lips curled into something like reverence.
He left something behind.
Liz pressed her ear to Mira's belly, her eyes going wide.
No, not something. Someone.
They felt the power growing, raw and primal. The child carried magic untouched by coven law, not bound to ritual or blood oath. It existed simply because two forces, Mira and Julian, had collided in lust and love and destruction. Seraphine stepped back, breathless.
This could be it.
She whispered.
The one we've been waiting for. A child not born of sacrifice, but of choice. It wasn't a choice.
Mira said, wrapping her arms around her belly.
It was an accident.
Liz's eyes narrowed.
Nothing this powerful is ever an accident.
They began preparing the house, chanting protection spells, drawing runes on the walls. Seraphine brewed potions to ease the strange weight Mira now carried. Liz guarded the manor like a hawk, killing anything that stepped too close to the grounds, but Mira grew distant. She felt the baby inside her not just moving, but watching, dreaming, whispering to her in a voice like Julian's, but older, wiser, hungrier. She didn't tell the others about the dreams, about the vision of the child with eyes black as obsidian and a mouth full of teeth that spoke in tongues. One night, Seraphine stood by the fire, speaking in hushed tones to Liz.
We don't raise it like a child,
Seraphine said.
We raise it like a god. It leads the new coven. Mira can be mother, fine, but it belongs to all of us.
Mira stood in the shadows listening. Her hand rested on her belly. The heartbeat inside pulsed strong. She whispered to it softly.
You're mine, and I will burn the world before I let them take you.
The boy was born beneath the eclipse. No scream, no blood, no tearing. He slipped from Mira's body like a shadow, silent and watching, eyes already open, black pools that drank the light. She named him Ashriel, a name that came to her in a dream, or maybe from Julian's whisper in the dark. By 1 year, he spoke fluently. By 2, he could chant spells that made birds fall from the sky. By 3, he called the fire without flinching. Seraphine adored him at first, called him my prince, and taught him the seduction of language. Liz taught him how to carve sigils into bone, how to wield a knife with precision. Mira, she watched, loved him fiercely but fearfully. She knew this was no child. This was Julian's revenge. She saw it in the way Ashriel stared at the sisters when they fought. Cold, detached, calculating. He didn't throw tantrums, he waited. And when Liz raised her voice to Mira one night, a chandelier fell, slicing Liz's shoulder clean open. No one touched Ashriel after that. Then came the day he asked Seraphine, "Why do you fear me?" She had smiled, masking her unease.
I don't, my love.
He tilted his head, amused. You should. That night, she disappeared. The coven found what was left of her in the garden. Skin pale, eyes missing, heart still beating in a silver bowl. Liz tried to run. She never made it past the gate. The forest swallowed her whole, roots twisting around her body like serpents. Mira heard her scream for 3 days. Then it was just Mira and her son. He stood in the ritual chamber, 6 years old in body, but his eyes, Julian's eyes. "You made me strong," he said. "He gave me purpose. Now you will give me the world," he growled. Mira sank to her knees.
What do you want from me?
Ashriel stepped close, touched her face with a tenderness that chilled her. "I want you to lead them, build me a new coven, not of witches, not of vampires, but of monsters like me." She looked up at him, her son, her king, her punishment and pride, and for the first time, she saw the future, a kingdom carved in lust and blood, with Ashriel at its center, and her as its queen mother.